What's going on, everybody? And we're back live for Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals between the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Clippers. And this should be a really good Game 3. Both coaches will be making adjustments, but especially to the Phoenix coach, and Ty Lue is going to do the best that he can to keep himself in the same way that he was yesterday. And for those who may not know already, everyone on the Phoenix Suns will be playing today. So everyone on the Phoenix Suns is playing, so nobody is on the injury report. And Kawhi Leonard is out once again with his usual injury, and Serge Ibaka, as you guys may already know, is out for the season. So, unfortunate for those two guys, prayers for them, but a little less for Kawhi after he gave the Sixers the dagger in the one game. No offense to Kawhi, but I'm not going to try to be too biased on this, but I have to give a point real quick. So, I'm going to give a point for the Phoenix Suns real quick. For the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker and Chris Paul have both got to step up tonight. They shot so bad in game number 2. It was so bad that I literally lost my mind when they both were shooting bad. Chris Paul only had 15 points. Devin Booker, I think, had 15 points. I think their leading scorer was DeAndre Ayton. And they just were not scoring their points. So they definitely have got to be better in that category. And they just got to be better overall. If I'm the Suns coach, I'd tell them to start making their shots. I'd tell them to warm up for probably the longest time. I'd give them some motivation. I would do all this stuff if I was the Suns head coach. If I was Ty Lue, I would tell my guys to be aggressive, and I would tell these guys to keep playing hard because that's how they're going to win games. Same with the Suns. They both got to play hard. Devin Booker and Chris Paul were both off last night, or in game 2, rather. So they're both looking to step up. Devin Booker will once again have that mask on to cover his nose because he injured it in the other game. I think he injured it in game 1. And Devin Booker's got to step up big time. It's just, I don't think Devin Booker's used to that being on him, but tonight he will get more used to it, hopefully. So it's what you're hoping for if you're a Suns fan, but if you're a Clippers fan, you're hoping that doesn't happen. Nobody in here yet, but I'll do it anyway. Shout out to everyone in here, man. Guys, smash that like button and hit the subscribe if you're new. Let's go. Let's go. Guys, I forgot to grab something real quick. I'll be right back. It won't take me that long. Alright, guys, I have returned. Got my computer on me. Now, for this one, I'm just going to do the box score. I won't do the halftime music because what I did for the halftime music, apparently YouTube gave me a warning for copyright. So I'm not going to do the music. So it'll be very quiet for halftime. But you guys should be fine with that. So I'm going to open it up just for the box score. You got one person in here. They just are not typing in the chat. That's fine. As long as there's someone in here trying to represent. nobody in here, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're not in here because you'd probably only be in here if you be a Clippers or a Suns fan for most of the people. But if we got one person in, that's fine. Chris Paul and Devin Booker both got to step up. They were combined for 30 points, 25% from the field, and 21% from behind the arc. They both got to step up. Just trying to get the Suns tips here. It was just horrible for them. It was just horrible for them last game. In game 2, they shot horribly. So they both got to step up big time. I don't think that Devin Booker and Chris Paul will blow that again. I don't think they're going to do that, but if they do, the Suns are going to be in trouble because they do not need to be going down 2-1 in this series to the Los Angeles Clippers led by Ty Lue and Paul George. And for those of you who are trying to think about who was on the injury report for the Clippers, Marquise Morris was on there. I think Cameron Payne was also on the injury report, but he got taken off because their coach said that he was ready to go. And Marquise Morris is good. So the usual two Los Angeles Clippers are on the injury report, Serge Ibaka and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi is not back on the floor yet, ladies and gentlemen. That's what could scare the Clippers unless the Paul George can carry the team. Yeah, man. Not a whole lot of chitter chatter in here. Come on, I want to hear all these people in here, man. Let's go. I want to hear the people in here. Yeah, man. Just waiting for this game to start. It's on ESPN. It's not on TNT. So, hoping that it will start soon. I was expecting it to start at like 9:05, but they want to just keep wasting our time. TNT always wants to waste our time so much. And it gets me all PO'd. Yeah, man, for those who just came in here, Kawhi remains out for the Los Angeles Clippers. Marquise Morris is going to play, and Serge Ibaka is out for the season. Everyone for the Phoenix Suns is playing. Just got one person in here. One culprit. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, just waiting for this game to start. It's like any day now until they want to start the game. Any day now, guys. Come on. Sorry, guys. I gotta, like, scream my TV because the game has not started yet. And it's stupid. Let's go, man. Let's go. Should be a good game. Do you think the Sixers will trade Simmons? Yeah, I think Simmons is going to get traded. I mean, we need a big time scorer for next season, and in my opinion, Ben Simmons is just not that guy. Ben Simmons is just not the guy for scoring. He'll give you rebounds and assists, but number one, he scored about the free throw line. Number two, he doesn't want to shoot. Number three, he doesn't shoot threes, and number four, he doesn't want to contribute. So, yeah, we got to trade Ben. We have got to trade Ben Simmons. Now, what would I trade him for? I would want to trade for Damian Lillard from the Portland Trailblazers. And I actually saw a trade on this the other day saying that the Sixers could get Dame Lillard if they trade Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, and multiple first-round picks for him. But I love Maxey, but in order to get Dame Lillard, we would have to trade him. We'd have to. Unless if we can find some other trade scenario, that's what we would have to do to get Dame. Even though I don't want Maxey to go. Thybulle, he's been up and down. I'd get rid of Thybulle. I would get rid of Thybulle. But I don't want to get rid of Maxey. That's the problem. I do not want to get rid of Maxey. I don't want to get rid of Maxey, but if that trade happens, then we'll have to let him go. But I think Tyrese Maxey's done pretty well. I think he's done well. He's a nice scorer. He's a better scorer than Ben Simmons. No offense, Ben, but you're done and out of here. And I just don't want to trade Maxey, man. I just don't want to trade Maxey. I would not trade Maxey if I was Daryl Morey. I would not trade Tyrese. Devin Booker still got the mask on for his nose injury. Devin Booker struggled in Game 2. Pat Beverly was all over him. Devin Booker's got to try to take care of business. Devin Booker needs to try to take care of business tonight. That must never happen again from Devin Booker. And same thing with Chris Paul. Devin Booker cannot allow those turnovers to happen, and Chris Paul just needs to shoot better. Devin Booker also needs to shoot better. I've never seen Devin Booker be that bad ever in my life. Never, ever, ever have I ever seen Devin Booker be that bad. So Devin Booker's really got to adjust. He's got to get used to that facial mask that he's wearing once again for the second straight game in a row. He's got to get used to it. If the Suns want a chance at the finals this year, Devin Booker's going to have to get used to wearing that mask, and he's got to shoot better. And then Chris Paul. Like, how do you allow DeAndre Ayton, your center, to score more points than you, but only by a three-pointer? It just doesn't make sense. I just have a feeling that the Suns may struggle to begin with, but they'll just find their rhythm. I think Devin Booker will get used to that mask on his face. I think Devin Booker will get used to it. So the Suns will struggle in the beginning, in my opinion, and then they'll bulk up and they'll adjust and they'll just do their thing. They'll do their thing and knock shots down once Devin Booker gets a little used to the mask. I mean, there have been other guys to wear that. Joel Embiid had to wear it, and a few other guys had to wear it. So, Devin Booker's not the only one. Joel Embiid would understand how that feels if his team was still in the playoffs. But unfortunately, the Sixers are out because the Atlanta Hawks just have to be kicking our butts all the time. But they played so bad to the Bucks in Game 2. They played so bad to them in Game 2 that They lost by, I think, 34 points. So, the Hawks are, as of now, being frauds. Who do you like in tonight's game? I like the Suns. I think the Suns will come back, and Devin Booker and Chris Paul will definitely shoot way better. But Ty Lue will not mess around either. But I still think that the Phoenix coach will make some big-time adjustments. And if Devin Booker and Chris Paul can make their shots and can lock down and shoot way better than they did in Game 2, they will have this game locked up. So much for the Suns in 4. Yeah, but they can still gentleman sweep, which is Suns in 5. They can still gentleman sweep. Ty Lue already going to tell his guys, and he's already giving them motivation right off the bat. He's probably going to tell them to play hard and just to do what they did in Game 2, man. I don't care who wins, but I actually want the Suns to pull out the victory. But if the Clippers win, give them credit. Phoenix starting lineup, Chris Paul. Basically, pretty much the regular lineup they've been going at. As for the Clippers, it's Reggie Jackson, Pat Beverley, Paul George, Marky Morris, and Ivica Zubac. For the Suns, I think it was Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, and I forget the other one. Jay Crowder, that's who. And we're underway. Here we go. Chris Paul starting off with the ball. He struggled in Game 2. Can he find the bounce back? Chris Paul giving it to DeAndre Ayton. And right off the bat, DeAndre Ayton gets a bucket and one to start the game. What a start. Ayton said in your mouth. And Ayton will make the free throw. Already a 3-0 start for the Suns as we're 13 seconds in. Here's Pat Beverley giving it over to Paul George. George going to Beverley. Beverley back to Paul George. George putting it back over to Beverley. Over to Zubac, who will slam for 2. So a decent start for both teams. Here's Chris Paul. Paul coming against Paul George. Here's Chris Paul with the mid-range jumper, and it's good for Chris Paul. Here they come down the other end. Paul George trying to find his way around. Paul George for 3. And that is off from Paul George, rebounded by the Suns. Here's Chris Paul. Paul just going to dribble it down the lane and keep dribbling. Chris Paul looking for some time. Chris Paul looking to his left. Chris Paul. And it'll be kicked by, I think it was Zubac. I think it's going to be kicked by Zubac. So I think it's going to stay with the Suns. Cam Jordan on the bench tonight. Yeah, it was kicked by Zubac, so it's inbounded. Here's DeAndre Ayton out to Booker. Booker to Chris Paul. Chris Paul, pump faking. Crowder for 3. And it's off, rebounded by the Clippers. Here's Paul George to Reggie Jackson or Pat Beverley, one of the two. Reggie Jackson going for 2, and that's all. Rebounded by the Suns. Here's Chris Paul down the other end. Chris Paul giving it to Devin Booker. And Booker's going to make the bucket. Here comes Pat Beverley down the other end. Pat Beverley giving it to Paul George. George going to Zubac. Zubac back to Paul George. George going to Zubac. Zubac trying to find his way around DeAndre Ayton, and that gets missed at the backboard. And they keep it in. No foul called. Crowder for 3, and that's good for Jay Crowder. And Ty Lue will take a timeout. Timeout Ty Lue for the Clippers. Suns are being way more aggressive, I'm going to admit. So Ty Lue definitely wants a timeout after that very quick start by the Suns. Suns off to a way quicker start than anticipated. They're out to a way faster start than last game, ladies and gentlemen. The only one with points for the Clippers, I believe, is Ivica Zubac. Yeah, Ivica Zubac is the only one with the Clippers points right now. As we're a minute and 15 seconds, or 2 minutes and 15 seconds in, rather. The Suns are shooting the ball 67% from the field, while the Clippers are shooting the ball 33%. The Suns are shooting the ball 50% from behind the arc, while the Suns have a goose egg. And Suns are perfect at the free throw line. Suns are out rebounding the Clippers overall and offensively. They're out assisting the Clippers. Clippers have just 1 block. The Suns are out stealing them. Suns have less turnovers. Suns have more points in the paint, just 1 foul called. Got that running, man. Guys, smash that like button and hit the subscribe if you're new. Try and get to 200 subs by the end of summer. Can we make that happen? Let's go. Let's go, man. Waiting for this commercial to get done so we can get back to play instead of listening to these commercials that are absolutely boring. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Yeah. Looking at the unbelievable play. Chris Paul to DeAndre Ayton. Man, that was good. Chris Paul spinning around Paul George. And with the mid-range jumper, and that one was good. Chris Paul came down the other end. Give to Devin Booker, who got it up and in. Devin Booker's starting to get a little bit better with the mask on his face. Especially to his nose. Because that is what is affecting Devin Booker. That's why he has it on. Chris Paul is the only player to lead the team in points and assists in a single franchise. Here's Paul George. George going to the right, cutting back. George going to fade for 2, and it's off. Rebounded by the Suns as Zubac cannot pick it up. Here they come down the other end, and I think a goaltend will be called, and it will be, I think, against Paul George. Yeah, Paul George got his hand above the rim, so it was a goaltend on Paul George. Here's Reggie Jackson giving it to Paul George. George trying to find his way. George looking against Devin Booker. Giving out to Reggie Jackson. Jackson comes up. Doesn't get it to go. Zubac gave it to Paul George for 3, and that is no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Crowder giving it to Mikal Bridges over to Booker. After Chris Paul, Jay Crowder for 3. That is no good. Rebounded by the Clippers. Here's Paul George. George giving it to Reggie Jackson. Jackson giving it to Zubats. Zubats over to Reggie Jackson. That gets popped out. And it looks like it's going the other way. And it will go the other way. Is what it's looking like. As it is put in. For Phoenix, all 5 stars have scored. And the Clippers are just 1 for 6. And Chris Paul gets that tipped up in the air, and that's a turnover for the Suns. Here they come down the other end. Reggie Jackson for 3. That is no good. And Zubats cannot get the rebound. Rebounded by the Suns. Here's Chris Paul. Off the play from Devin Booker, giving it to DeAndre Ayton. Ayton going back to Devin Booker. Booker driving. Putting it up. And it's good for Devin Booker. Booker continues to be aggressive, and that's what you're going to need if you're the Suns. There's Pat Beverly. Beverly against Chris Paul. Paul George against Devin Booker. Here's Paul George who goes for 3, and that is good for Paul George. As that was their first point scored in like 2 minutes. Ty Lue looking a little on the side. Chris Paul giving it to DeAndre Ayton. Mikal Bridges, one of the two. It was DeAndre Ayton. Booker lost the ball. It would have been a backcourt violation, but it was actually a loose ball. Here's Devin Booker. Booker going for what looks like a 2, and that was airballed. An airballed shot for Devin Booker. Reggie Jackson giving it to Morris for 2, and it's good. Here we go. Here's Chris Paul, who drives up, trying to get past Zubats. Chris Paul trying to buy some time. Went to the right. Chris Paul for a 2, the mid-range jumper, and it's no good. Rebounded by the Clippers. Here's Paul George. George for 3. That is no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Crowder giving it to Booker. Booker already down at the other end. Booker to Crowder. Crowder for 3. It's good, but the foul, I think, was called before it happened. And Pat Beverly is getting all pissed off at the refs right now. And here's the inbound. Jay Crowder to DeAndre Ayton over to Booker. Booker trying to buy some time. Look around. Booker needs an option. Booker looking around, and Booker needs to be more aggressive than that. The shot was way off. Rebounded by the Clippers. There they go. There they come. And Reggie Jackson cannot get it in. There's Pat Beverly. Beverly trying to get past Crowder. Beverly to Zubats. And Zubats gets it to go. Clippers with the 7-0 run in the last 2:15. Here's Chris Paul. Paul trying to buy some time. Chris Paul from the free throw line. Here he gives it to Ayton. And it will be out of bounds on the Clippers. But the Clippers will get the standing O from their fans. With that nice defensive play on DeAndre Ayton. Inbounded. Here's Jay Crowder for 2, and it's no good. And Mikal Bridges give it out. Here's Booker. Booker for 2, and it's good for Devin Booker. Booker's got to hit more of those. Booker's got to keep playing like that if the Suns want a chance to win. Here we go. Here's Paul George. George going to the right. Paul George stepping up, giving it to Zubats. Zubats putting it all the way out, and that's going to head the other way. As Cameron Payne has come on for the Phoenix Suns. Nice play by Devin Booker with this jump shot. Nice play by Devin Booker. Great play. Devin Booker, I think, is getting used to that mask a little bit. Devin Booker shooting 3 for 5 from the field and has 6 points at the moment. 5:10 left in the first. Chris Paul takes a seat for Cameron Payne. As here's the inbound. Jay Crowder to Cameron Payne. Payne trying to buy some time. Payne for two with the mid-range jumper, and that falls for the Phoenix Suns. 18-9 is the score. Pat Beverly putting it out for Morris for three. No good. Rebounded by Pat Beverly. Here's what looks like Reggie Jackson for three, and anyway, he missed it. Here they come anyway. Here comes Booker. Booker trying to drive up, and Booker will miss it. Ayton gets the rebound, and Ayton gets it to go. Another timeout will be called by Ty Lue for the Clippers. As not the ideal start that the Clippers wanted. Looking to make an adjustment. Suns are playing tough. Playing some lockdown stuff. They're playing some good defense, and they're making their shots. Is what they needed as an adjustment. 18-9 with 4.5 minutes left. Suns are destroying the Clippers right now, ladies and gentlemen. Not really much of anything going on in this game apart from the Suns just playing way better than they did last game. They're going to try to get more aggressive. And Ty Lue needs to make an adjustment big time. Ty Lue's got to make a big adjustment for the Clippers right now. If you're the Clippers and if you're Ty Lue, you got to make a big adjustment. Because this Suns team, if they keep playing like this, they're not going to stop. They just won't do it. They're just not going to stop, man. Yeah, man, I figured I would do a late night stream and a late night play-by-play just to have someone be doing these. You know, my sisters are out. It doesn't mean I can do this for other teams, which is what I'm doing tonight. So yeah, just waiting for the commercials to be done as usual. And hopefully we'll see some better competition. Because the Suns are showing it big time, and the Clippers aren't really showing it at all. Here we go. We're back. Suns fans again hyped in LA. And hopefully Ty Lue made a big adjustment for the Clippers right now. Here comes Reggie Jackson. Jackson spinning. Jackson looking. Giving it to Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann giving it to Paul George. George against Jay Crowder. Paul George runs in and gets the layup to go. Man, the Clippers needed that. Here's Cameron Payne. Payne. Trying to find a way past his man. Here's Jay Crowder. Crowder spitting on Paul George. Giving that ball to Devin Booker. And that is taken away. Here come the Clippers down the other lane. And a big collision with Devin Booker and Paul George. As Devin Booker will get a foul for that. Two free throws coming for Paul George. That was a nice play by Devin Booker, though, to go into midair. Odd. He grabbed Paul George on the shoulder. He didn't even make contact with the ball. They're about to get a little feisty here. As I think Paul George got a tech. Devin Booker shot his free throw. Yeah, I think Paul George got a tee. I think they teed him up, ladies and gentlemen. So Devin Booker gets an uncontested shot while Paul George gets two free throws. So Paul George did get the technical. Paul George with 6 points and is shooting 2 for 6 on the field with 3 rebounds. But Paul George gets a tee. As Nick Batum comes in. And Chris Paul is still on the bench. Paul George will make the second one. Jay Crowder giving it to Cameron Payne. Payne just dribbling with the ball. Payne. And still by time giving it. And DeAndre Ayton. I think the foul was called on the floor. So the basket will not count. But DeAndre Ayton will shoot 2 free throws. DeAndre Ayton will make the first one. And DeAndre Ayton will make both. See, why can't Ben Simmons do that on his free throws every time? Why does he have to miss them? Here we go. They come down the lane. Beverly giving it to Paul George. George trying to look for someone. Gives it to Terrence Mann over Marquis Morris. And Batum was in the corner for 3, and it was good. As they give it out to Cameron Payne for the Suns. Payne going out. Here's Crowder back to Payne. Payne trying to wrap around. And Cameron Payne's getting plucked. And I think it was a foul on Terrence Mann. Looks like it based on what I'm seeing on the television. Looks like it is a foul on Terrence Mann. And both teams are already getting a little aggressive and a little feisty. Both teams are already getting pushy to start. And Cameron Payne's going to receive a tech. Paul George will make the free throw. Oh, Cameron Payne, he tossed the ball on the ground on Terrence Mann. And then he talked at the Clippers bench. And they come. Here's DeAndre Ayton. Blocked by Batum. And that will be what looks like an offensive foul. So it's heading the other direction. Nice play right there by Batum to block it. Here's Paul George giving it to Batum. Terrence Mann will hit. Here's Cameron Payne. Payne coming up. Payne just going to drive. Payne going up. Going to miss it. Rebounded by the Clippers. So Ty Lue's adjustment is definitely working for the Clippers as of now. Here's Paul George for three. Just missing. Rebounded by the Suns. Here's Booker giving it to Cameron Payne. Booker against Zubac. It's funny, they got Zubac and Batum in the game. There's Payne trying to get it to go. And DeAndre Ayton will finish it up. Good teamwork by the Suns right there. I'll give him credit for that. What credit is due. Here's Paul George giving it out. And they could not hit. They go for two, and it's missed by Devin Booker. As they bring it down the other end, rebound by the Clippers. Batum giving it out. Paul George against Jay Crowder. Paul George looking for a man. Paul George going to back up behind the three-point line. Paul George constantly dribbling. Paul George going to fade for two. It's no good. Rebounded by the Clippers. Here's Paul George for three. No good. Rebounded by the Clippers again. And here they go for three once again. And it's no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Here's Devin Booker. Booker backing up behind the three-point line. Still backing up. Here comes Devin Booker trying to get it past Zubac and does get it past him as he gets it up and in for two. Here's Batum. Batum driving up and it's missed. And Zubac somehow manages to break out of the lock. Here's Terrence Mann. Mann with the back shot. And he'll get fouled, and I think he's going to go to the line for two. Then Booker's played all 12 minutes so far and has 9 points. It'll actually just be an inbound for the Clippers. There's the inbound to Terrence Mann. Here's Paul George. George trying to get past Cam Johnson. George for three. That doesn't fall. Rebounded by the Clippers. Giving it out to Paul George. George giving it out to his man. Going for three. No good. And that'll be the end of the first quarter. Great job by the Suns to hold him down. DeAndre Ayton with 11 points in that first quarter. As DeAndre Ayton is being aggressive, but Devin Booker's definitely playing better. Devin Booker's playing way better than the last game. Devin Booker's being way more aggressive, though, I'm going to admit. That's how the Suns have the lead right now. DeAndre Ayton is still doing his thing. Chris Paul's shooting better, and Devin Booker's shooting better. I'll read some stats here for both teams. The Phoenix Suns are shooting the ball 50% from the field, while the LA Clippers are shooting the ball 28%. The Suns are shooting the ball 1 for 4 from three-point range, while the Clippers are shooting the ball 20%. Both teams are perfect at the free throw line. The Suns are out rebounding the Clippers 15-14. On offensive rebounds, though, the Clippers have more than the Suns 6-3. The Suns are out assisting them. The Clippers have 2 blocks while the Suns have 0. The Clippers have 2 steals while the Suns have 1. Clippers with 3 turnovers, Suns with 2. Suns with 18 points in the paint. For the Clippers, just 8 and 6 fouls called in total by both teams. For leading scorers, you have DeAndre Ayton with 11, Devin Booker with 9, Jay Crowder with 3, Mikal Bridges with 2, Chris Paul with 2, and Cameron Payne with 2. As for the Clippers, you have Zubac with 4, Paul George with 8, Markieff Morris with 2, nothing for Pat Beverly, nothing for Reggie Jackson, 3 for Terrence Mann, 3 for Nick Batum, and that's it for the Clippers. Guys, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button on the stream and hit the subscribe button if you're new as well, man. Let's go. Let's go. I had to come on just do a late night stream, man. I figured I would just to put out some more content. We'll cover most of it, if not the whole playoffs. Try to do as many playoff games as we can on here on the channel. But if I can't get to these, I apologize for that. Phoenix is 12 for 4 from the field, for 24 from the field, while LA is just 7 for 25. Terrence Mann giving it to Reggie Jackson. Jackson trying to buy some time against Cam Johnson. Giving it to Zubac. Zubac giving it up. There's Luke Kennard putting it up and in, and 1 for Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard has his first points of the game. As I think both Devin Booker and Chris Paul are both on the bench. No, Chris Paul's in the game, as well as with Cameron Payne, Dario Saric, and 2 other players. Dario Saric, man, former Sixer. On the Sixers, against the Sixers, we would expect them to have a bigger game, but since we're not playing them, he may not this time. There's Chris Paul. Paul looking to buy some time. Paul going to the left, giving it to Dario Saric. Saric, as that ball will stay with the Suns with 10 on the shot clock. I'm not sure about that call. Abdel Nader, that's who came in the game as one of them. Abdel Nader. Abdel Nader also came back, ladies and gentlemen. Cam Payne going up, and he'll miss the shot. Rebounded by the Clippers. There's Luke Kennard. Kennard going up against Dario Saric. Batum in the corner for 3. That's going to be short. Rebounded by Batum. Batum giving it to Terrence Mann. Mann getting tripped somehow by Dario Saric. And then the foul was on the floor, so it'll just be an inbound. Luke Kennard will inbound to Zubac. Zubac giving that ball to Reggie Jackson, and Reggie Jackson will get that to go for a deuce. Here comes the Suns down the other end quickly. Here's Chris Paul, and the foul was on the floor, but I think it's going to go on the Clippers anyway. Aaron Nader will inbound to Dario Saric. Saric gonna give that to Chris Paul. Paul for 2 with a mid-range jumper, and it is no good. And Cam Johnson will put it back. Here's Terrence Mann. Mann driving up, giving it out. Reggie Jackson over to Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann against Aaron Nader. Here comes Reggie Jackson. And Reggie Jackson with the mid-range jumper is good. Or Abdel Nader, my bad. Here's Cameron Payne. Payne giving it to Dario Saric for 3, and it is good for Dario Saric. Former Sixer. Of course he'll knock down. Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson to the right. Reggie Jackson trying to find a man. That was almost stolen by the Suns, but it was last touched by Luke Kennard as Abdel Nader with great defense. There's Chris Paul. Paul against Zubac. Paul for 2, no good. Rebounded by the Clippers. Here's Batum. Batum giving it to Kennard. Kennard trying to get past Abdel Nader. Kennard for 3. It was good, but it's not going to count. Abdel Nader, born in Egypt. Abdel Nader was the second Egyptian player in NBA history. First was Allah. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. Here's the inbound. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson giving it to Morris. Morris over to Reggie Jackson. Jackson being guarded by Dario Saric. Reggie Jackson driving up, giving it to Morris for 3, and it is no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Cam Johnson handling the ball, giving it to Chris Paul. Chris Paul over to Devin Booker. Booker against Luke Kennard. Devin Booker trying to find a path. Devin Booker just going to charge in, go with the mid-range jumper, and it's good. But they do call a travel on Devin Booker. Paul George is ready to come back in. But on the next timeout, somewhere around there, that's when Paul George will get back in. Here's Terrence Mann. Mann trying to buy some time. Terrence Mann looking, putting it out. Batum went for 3, but missed it. Here they come down the other end. Booker giving it to Chris Paul. Paul giving it to Mikal Bridges. Bridges over to Dario Saric. Saric backing into Terrence Mann. Giving it to Chris Paul. Over to Cam Johnson for 3. No good. And they're going to keep it with the Suns with 14 on the shot clock. As Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges were both fighting. I think it was last touch by Mikal Bridges, but I think it's too late to challenge it for Ty Lue. Paul inbounds to Mikal Bridges, who gives it out, and that is good for Cam Johnson. They go for 3, and Reggie Jackson will miss. Here's Chris Paul down the other end. Paul putting it up, and Ayton will slam it down for 2. Another timeout is called by Ty Lue. That's already the 3rd timeout called for the Clippers. None called for the Suns. Suns feel very comfortable right now. Suns feel real comfortable real quick. No one's really affecting them from the Clippers anyway. Sorry guys, that's just my cats running around like psychopaths. They're just crazy. Guys, I may freeze up, but if I do, I apologize. I'm just gonna check social media real quick. And by what I mean by that, I mean Twitter. Alright guys, we're back. Here we go. Underway. Here's Morris giving it to Paul George, who barely gets that to Pat Beverly. Beverly drives up and somehow missed the layup. Gets it back to Morris. Morris giving it to Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann trying to buy some time, giving it to Paul George. George against Chris Paul. Running out of time, and that was a push off on Paul George, as that will head the other way. Easy push off. What is he doing to my man's Chris Paul, man? Paul George just abused him on that play. Yeah, Chris Paul's like, you know what? Give him that foul. Oh, be quiet, Paul George. Be quiet. Be quiet, Paul George. You know, there's the inbound. There's Chris Paul. Paul coming around. Paul giving it to Booker for three. No good. Rebounded by the Clippers. Reggie Jackson, it got blocked. and it'll be Suns ball as they hustle it in quickly. They do not want to mess around, and they want to get a quick bucket before the Clippers have a chance to set up. Here's Chris Paul dribbling with the ball. Here's Paul trying to buy some time, giving it to DeAndre Ayton. Ayton out to Chris Paul. Paul may need to find an option against Paul George. But he did the step back, and it does not go through for Chris Paul. Under 6 minutes to go in the first half. And a little physicality down there between Chris Paul and Paul George as a foul is called. On the floor either way, I think. Ty Lue yelling at his men. As it was against Chris Paul. So here we go. Inbounded Reggie Jackson. Jackson going for a mid-range jumper, and it's no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Here's Cameron Payne. Payne looking to his left. Payne still looking. Payne still looking. Never ends. Crowder for 3. Doesn't get it to go. Jay Crowder put that way too far to the left. There they go. Paul George to Beverly, back to Paul George, who gave it to Marquise Morris. And Morris does not put it in. No foul is called for anything. Here's Devin Booker. Booker trying to get around. Devin Booker wanting to drive. And an offensive foul called on Devin Booker. Pat Beverly's like, yeah, that's a foul, Devin. Don't even get me started. Aw, he flopped. He flopped. What a flop by Pat Beverly. What a flop by Pat Beverly, man. What a flop by Pat Beverly. There we go. Here's Beverly giving it to Zubac. Zubac giving it over to Pat Beverly. Beverly trying to get past Cam Payne. Beverly giving it to Marquise Morris. Morris for 2. It's no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Here's Devin Booker. Booker wanting to drive, go with the mid-range jumper, and that is good for Devin Booker. Devin Booker with 11 points and is shooting 50% from the field, but is over 2 from 3. Here's Paul George giving it to Terrence Mann, who goes for 2, and it's no good. Tipped up in the air, and it's the Suns' ball. Here's Cameron Payne. Payne over to Jay Crowder. Crowder giving it to DeAndre Ayton. That is no good. Rebounded by Jay Crowder for the Suns. There's Jay Crowder. Crowder for 2. That is no good. The Clippers are scoreless in the last 6 minutes. Suns are playing some lockdown defense. Paul George for 2, and that is finally good, as they finally got points on the board. Paul George shooting 3 for 11 from the field and 1 for 7 for 3. Here's Devin Booker giving it up to Mikal Bridges over to DeAndre Ayton. Ayton giving it to Cameron Payne for 3, and that is good for Cameron Payne. Here we go. Here's Paul George. He drives up. Looks like he draws the foul. And the foul they're looking at is against Jay Crowder. That's a great shot by Cameron Payne. As he falls down, but no foul is called. But Terrence Mann literally touched him and no foul was called right there. Like, Cameron Payne should have gotten in 1. Excuse me, guys. because I thought I had to sneeze, but it went away. And the first one was missed. Paul George, can he make the second one? Paul George will easily make the second. 3 minutes left. Not a whole lot of scoring for the Clippers. Here goes Cameron Payne, giving it to DeAndre Ayton over to Devin Booker. Booker giving it to DeAndre Ayton, who barely misses the alley-oop. And it'll head the other way anyhow. Timeout called. How many points do the Clippers even have? They only have 9 points. They only have 9 points in the second quarter. With 3 minutes to go. So I'm to 15. Clippers just have 9. That's unbelievable. Clippers show some pride in game 2, but don't show pride in game 3. Now, I could be jinxing that as I say that, but if the Suns keep playing like that, I don't think it'll happen for the Clippers to come back. Yeah, guys, I'm going to get something while it's on commercial break. All right, guys, I'm back. Had to get a few things, and we're back, man. Under 3 minutes left to go in the first. Terrence Mann to the line for what looks like 2 free throws. Terrence Mann will make the first one. Terrence Mann will make the second one, so he makes both at the line. I don't know why Ben Simmons can't do that. And Devin Booker's playing well, but Chris Paul isn't. Shooting 1 for 5 from the field. Giving it to Crowder, over to Campaign, over to DeAndre Ayton. Ayton puts it up and in. DeAndre Ayton getting it down. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson trying to buy some time, give it to Zubac. Zubac gives it up. Here they come. Terrence Mann over to Zubac, over to Reggie Jackson for 3. No good. Rebounded by the Suns. Suns are playing with a bunch of intensity in this game. Suns are shooting 40% from the field, while the Clippers are just shooting 15%. Here's Chris Paul. Paul giving it out. Cameron Payne going for 3. That is off of the back of the rim. Rebounded by the Clippers. There's Paul George giving it to I think that was Zubac, and Zubac slammed it down. Dang. That'd be 13 in this second quarter for the Clippers. And there's Chris Paul at the mid-range jumper, and that is good. Beverly, who gives it to Reggie Jackson, back to Pat Beverly. Beverly trying to buy some time, giving it to Paul George. George put it up for Zubac, but Zubac missed the opportunity. Rebounded by the Suns. Under a minute to go. Booker with 11 points, Ayton with 15. There's Chris Paul. Paul trying to get past Paul George. Chris Paul trying to give it up, and that is a missed opportunity. Here comes Terrence Mann, giving it to Beverly. Beverly trying to draw a foul. Beverly out to Reggie Jackson. Jackson for 3. That is good for Reggie Jackson. And the Clippers can get this back with at least 2 seconds left. With a time for 1. Here comes Chris Paul, just constantly dribbling around, finding a path. Chris Paul looking, giving it up, and it's good for Mikal Bridges. 4.7 left. Reggie Jackson having a chance, and he almost made a very possible shot, but it just hit the back of the rim and popped out. So still anyone's game at the half, but the Suns are definitely playing better on all ends. Yeah, man, that is halftime. So we'll read stats real quick. We'll take a halftime break, get a chance to refuel. And here we go. We'll do the players, and then we'll go to the team stats. So leading scorers for the Phoenix Suns: DeAndre Ayton with 15, Devin Booker with 11, Chris Paul and Mikal Bridges with 4 for the Stars, Jay Crowder with 3, Cameron Payne with 5, Cam Johnson with 5, and Dario Saric with 3. As for the Clippers, Zubac with 6, Paul George with 11, Reggie Jackson with 7, Pat Beverly with none, Marquise Morris with 2, Terrence Mann with 5, Batum with 3, 2 for Kennard. And that's it for the Clippers. As for team stats, the Suns are shooting the ball 47% from the field, while the Clippers are shooting the ball 30%. The Suns are shooting the ball 36% from behind the arc, while the Clippers are shooting the ball 18%. The Suns are still perfect at the free throw line with 4 for 4, while the Clippers are 6 for 8 from the free throw line. The Suns are out rebounding them, but the Clippers have more rebounds offensively. The Suns are out assisting them. They both each have 2 blocks. The Clippers have more steals, 3-2. Clippers have more turnovers, 7-5. Suns have more points in the paint. And how many fouls did they call? They just called 15 fouls in the first half. Should see what was the least amount of fouls given in a game in the NBA. Yeah, man, that's halftime. Guys, smash the like button if you ever decide to come in here, and hit the subscribe button if you're new. Trying to get to 200 subs by at least the end of summer. If we could do that, I'll be happy. Yeah, man, go take your halftime break, do whatever you gotta do, and we'll be back, man. No music for halftime because I did get a copyright warning from YouTube. So no music for halftime, unfortunately. But my mic, do whatever you gotta do. Get a beverage, get a little snack, go to the bathroom. We'll be back, man. Be back for the second half. Should be a good one. Yo, what's good, everybody? What's good? I'm back here for the second half. Just waiting for the second half to get underway. Let's go. Well, Kawhi Leonard just out for a sixth straight game. Kawhi out for a sixth game in a row. As a Sixers fan, I gotta hope that players are okay. So, fortunately, even though Kawhi put up the dagger in the 1 year, still kind of hate him a little bit, but prayers up for Kawhi. Just waiting for the second half to get underway. Yeah, man, just getting ready for the second half. And we'll see who wins game number 3. As of now, it's looking like it's going to be the Suns if the Clippers don't step up. If you're wondering what the noises outside, guys, it's just a bunch of fireworks going off because 4th of July is next Sunday. So that's what the noise is if you guys hear any booming noises. One interesting first half, though, by both teams. Suns have the lead, though, so we'll see what adjustments Ty Lue will make and see if the Clippers can make this game any closer. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's go. Waiting for the second half to get underway. Very nice first half by the Suns, I will admit. Very nice first half. Yeah, like I said before, the Suns were shooting the ball 47% from the field, while the Clippers were shooting 30%, and 36% from behind the arc for the Suns, while the Clippers were shooting the ball 18%. So time to kick off the second half. Ty Lue hoping to see a lot more energy from his boys than what they saw in the first half, and we're underway to begin the second half. Reggie Jackson giving it to Paul George. George going to his right. Paul George looking for some time, going with the mid-range jumper, and it's off, rebounded by the Suns. Here comes Chris Paul down the other end. Chris Paul giving it to DeAndre Ayton. Ayton out to Booker. Booker for two off the backboard. It's off, but I think Booker got fouled by Pat Beverly. So Booker to the line for two. Unless if it's an inbound pass. And we'll be two at the line for Devin Booker. And the first one is good for Devin Booker. Cameron Payne takes a seat. Devin Booker, I think, is getting used to that mask now. As Booker will make the second one. Booker was missing a lot of his shots in the second game when he first had the mask on. But now he's making his shots right now. Here's Zubac going to Paul George. George giving it to Zubac, who will slam it down. What a play by Ivica Zubac. Zubac with 4 for 5 from the field and 9 rebounds. There's Paul giving it to Devin Booker. Booker trying to find a man. Booker for 3. No good. Rebounded by the Suns. As it was out of bounds on DeAndre Ayton as it goes the other way. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson trying to drive up. Jackson with the under the net shot, and it's good for Reggie Jackson. Here come the Suns on the other end, though. Here's Chris Paul. Paul stepping back on Zubac. Stepping up. Going back. And here come the Clippers down the other end on a break. And Zubac will slam for 2 as Paul George goes to the ground. But I think the foul may have been called on the floor. So it would be 2 free throws if the answer to that one is yes. And I think it was called on the floor. So Paul George to shoot 2 free throws. Going for his 6th and 7th. Paul George will make the first one. That was a nice shot by Reggie Jackson. I do those shots at times that Reggie Jackson did right there. I do those shots and I make them. Paul George will make the second one. So Paul George goes 2 for 2 at the line. Here come the Suns. There's Chris Paul dribbling it down, giving it out to Booker, out to Crowder, back to Chris Paul. Paul stepping up. Paul spinning around Reggie Jackson, and that is good for Chris Paul with the mid-range jumper. Here are the Clippers. Here's Zubac going to Paul George. George stepping back. Giving it up. Going for a 2, and that is good. By, I think that was Pat Beverly. Anyway, here they come down the other end. That was either Beverly or Morris. Suns are still perfect at the free throw line, 6 for 6. That was Pat Beverly getting his first points of the game. Jay Crowder inbounding it to DeAndre Ayton. And Devin Booker getting tossed to the floor by, I believe, Pat Beverly. There was Devin Booker or Jay Crowder. No, it was Devin Booker who got tossed to the floor by Pat Beverly. And Jay Crowder gets in a fight with Pat Beverly. Here's the Suns. Here's Devin Booker. Booker going up, giving it to Chris Paul in the corner for 3, and that is off from Chris Paul. Rebounded by the Suns. Here's Devin Booker. Booker stepping back. Booker for a long 3. That is no good. Suns got to step up on that shooting if they want a chance to win. Here's Reggie Jackson giving it to Morris. Morris backing into Devin Booker, and that is no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Here's Chris Paul. Paul looking. That'll be waved off as the foul was called on Marquise Morris. Jay Crowder giving it to DeAndre Ayton. Ayton against Zubac. Ayton stepping back. Ayton looking. Giving it to Chris Paul. Paul looking around. Paul looking for time. Fades, shoots, and it's no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Mikal Bridges has it. Devin Booker driving up. And that hits off the back of the rim. Rebounded by the Clippers. Reggie Jackson down the other end. Rejected that time by Mikal Bridges. And an offensive foul is called by, looks like Pat Beverly, so they called it before Mikal Bridges blocked it. Oh yeah, he got him, and so did Zubac. As I think Pat Beverly also got a T. Pat Beverly got a T, I think. Zubac giving it to Reggie Jackson for 2. Misses it. Zubac had the rebound at first, but cannot handle it. There's Chris Paul. Paul trying to buy some time. Paul going to the left. Paul going to fake for 2, and it's good for Chris Paul. Now the Clippers, here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson getting it past Jay Crowder, giving it up to Morris. Or not Morris. Never mind, that was Morris. Anyway, he gets that in for 2. There's Chris Paul for Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges misses the 3. Rebounded by the Clippers. Reggie Jackson. Jackson stepping back. Stepping up on Booker. Reggie Jackson trying to go behind the back, and that's a turnover by the Clippers. Chris Paul jumping, and that is good with the jump shot by Chris Paul. Mid-range jumper again, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Paul with 11. 5 for 11 from the field with 5 assists. And the Clippers. Paul George giving it out. Beverly, no good. Zubac getting the rebound, handling the ball. Don't know why he's not dunking it. And it'll stay Suns ball. The fans don't like the call, and neither do the players. Both teams with 8 turnovers. And the Suns are starting to run away with this game real quick. Yeah, man. This game's starting to be a runaway with the Suns real quick. Once the Taigu can make something up and create some magic here, this will be the Suns' game to win. Yeah, man, just waiting for all these commercials to be over. Yeah, man, just waiting for this game to come back. Six 17 left to go in the third. In the whole fourth quarter. Read the stats of all the players and the stat line for all the teams. And then we'll get out of here. Here you go. There's the inbound for the Clippers. And that is good. And one for Terrence Mann. As Terrence Mann went straight up to the rack and just put it in off the inbound. But I believe that was Pat Beverly. Terrence Mann got 12 points and he has 10 in the quarter. Terrence Mann will make the end one. Terrence Mann has 8 points on the night. There's Chris Paul. Paul driving up. Paul going back. Crowder for 3. And that rims out for Jay Crowder. Rebounded by the Clippers. And Zubats is going to slam it down. All right, here they come down the other end. Here's Chris Paul. Give it to Booker for mid-range jumper, and that is no good. Rebounded by the Clippers. Paul George. George with the fading 2, and it's good for Paul George. And the Clippers are heating up really, really quickly. 7-0 run for the Clippers, by the way, in the last minute 15 seconds by now. Chris Paul driving up. Chris Paul going with the mid-range jumper, and that is missed. Suns get their own rebound, and DeAndre Ayton gets it right back into the net. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson for 2, and it is good for Reggie Jackson. His ugly one-handed play. Here's Chris Paul. Paul driving up. Paul for 2. No good. Rebound by the Suns, giving it out to Mikal Bridges. Bridges for 2. That's good for Mikal Bridges. If the scores keep being like this, it'll be a very low-scoring game. So the Clippers missed their three-pointer. Here come the Suns down the other end. Chris Paul driving up. Paul giving it to Ayton for 2, but that is missed. Rebounded by the Clippers. Jackson for 3. That is good for Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson makes it a 5-point game. Great 3 by Reggie Jackson. Yeah, guys, I'll be back. I want to see what my cats are doing. Alright, guys, just like that, I'm back. Just had to settle my cats down. They're acting a little crazy. So, we're back at it. And the one cat is still being crazy. Yeah, guys, my cat's going crazy again. Alright, guys, I'm officially back now. Cats are just driving me a little crazy, but I took care of them now. Alright guys, we're back at it after all these stupid commercials. Just my cat's being weird. Here's Cameron Payne. Payne backing up. Payne looking for an option. Finds Cam Johnson. Back to Cam Payne. He's driving up for the moment. Cannot get the good bounce off the backboard. Rebounded by the Clippers. And they fight for it. And either way, it'll be Paul George getting fouled and going to the line for two. Easy foul on Cam Johnson. Paul George almost made that, to be honest. Paul George is 4 for 13 from the field. As Paul George will make the first one. Around 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Or the third, rather. Paul George will miss the second one. 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Here's Cameron Payne. Payne. Giving it to Devin Booker. Booker with the mid-range jumper, and it's good for Devin Booker. And the Suns try to maintain their lead. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson needs an option besides Zubac. Reggie Jackson just driving up, giving it to Zubac, who misses it, but will eventually get 2 free throws. And Zubac went down for the moment, but gets back up with help of a player and one of his coaches. So if you guys hear like a sinker in the background or something, can't do anything about it. 2.5 minutes left in the third. Ivica Zubac with his third straight double-double. Zubac will make the first free throw. Looking to make this a 4-point game once again. And Zubac will make the second one. And Batum. Did he get fouled? What in the world? No, went out of bounds on Cameron Payne. So it's going to go the other way. And it'll be Clippers ball. Terrence Mann giving it to Reggie Jackson. Jackson trying to buy some time. Trying to look for his shot. Reggie Jackson still looking for time. Reggie Jackson drives up. Reggie Jackson for 2. And it's good for Reggie Jackson. 2-point game. Reggie Jackson with 16 in this game. Here's Devin Booker. Booker stepping up, stepping back. We'll get fouled. And we'll get 2 at the line. Devin Booker will somehow miss the first free throw. Paul George going to the bench. Devin Booker will make the second one. So 1 for 2 at the line for Devin Booker. As that was their first free throw missed. Devin Booker with 16. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson trying to buy some time. Gives it over to Terrence Mann. Mann comes up. And Terrence Mann gets it in. It's a 1-point game here at Staples Center in game number 4. There's Booker, and he gets plucked. But it will be a foul coming against the Clippers. Booker had 15 points in game 3, and right now he's got 16. Chance to make it 18. As Booker will make the first one. And Booker will miss the second one. He hit the front rim. Welcome to the world of Ben Simmons, Devin Booker. And that gets plucked, and Devin Booker gets the steal, and it'll be a foul coming against Terrence Mann. Devin Booker will make the first one. We're going to make both at the line. And Booker will make the second one, so he'll make both at the line. Reggie Jackson giving it to Zubac. Zubac's faking it to Kennard over to Terrence Mann, and that gets spotted away by DeAndre Ayton. 1 minute left to go in the third. For DeAndre Ayton did not make that intentional, bro. That was not intentional on DeAndre Ayton. Terrence Mann will miss the first free throw. Terrence Mann's going to miss both. Not good if you're the Clippers right now. Under a minute left. Here's Devin Booker. Booker trying to drive up on Batum. Booker giving it out to Chris Paul. Paul looks for an option, just goes for 3. And that somehow does not go in. Rebounded by the Clippers. Reggie Jackson for 3, and that cannot go. And the Clippers save it, and Zubac is going to get fouled. Great save by Luke Kennard. And Zubac will make the first one. Kawhi out for a 6th straight game with that same old knee injury. .26 seconds left in the third. Zubac will miss the second one. Here's Chris Paul. Paul giving it to DeAndre Ayton. Ayton trying to get past Zubac. Ayton giving it to Devin Booker. Booker trying to find his way around. Booker gonna fade. It's gonna be off. And they'll say Clippers ball, but it's really not gonna matter because who's gonna launch that with the 10th of a second left? Big quarter right there for the Clippers. They had 30 points in the third. Well, the Suns just had 19, so this is pretty much a very sloppy game by both teams, but see who comes out on top. For team stats, the Suns are shooting the ball 42% from the field, while the Clippers are shooting the ball 38%. The Suns are shooting the ball 24% from behind the arc. The Clippers are shooting the ball 20%. The Suns are shooting the ball 85% from the free throw line, while the Clippers are shooting the ball 68%. The Suns are out rebounding them. They're both tied on offensive rebounds with 11. The Suns are out assisting the Clippers 14-13. Suns have more blocks than the Clippers 5-2. They're both tied with 4 steals apiece. They each have 9 turnovers. The Suns have 32 points in the paint, while the Clippers have 28. And 29 fouls were called in this game right now. As for player stats, for the Suns, for player stats, you have DeAndre Ayton with 15, Devin Booker with 19, Mikal Bridges with 8, Jay Crowder with 3, Chris Paul with 11, Cameron Payne with 5, Cameron Johnson with 5, and 3 for Dario Saric. As for the Clippers, you have Zubac with 13, Reggie Jackson and Paul George each with 16, Beverly with 2, Morris with 4, Terrence Mann with 10, Batum with 3, Kennard with 2, and that's it for the Clippers. As this is still anyone's game. Anyone's game right now. Anyone can take this game home. Anyone can take this one. It is still anybody's game. Still anybody's game, ladies and gentlemen. They're currently interviewing Ty Lue right now on what the Clippers need to do in the fourth to have a chance to win and try to tie the series. The Clippers were down by as much as 16, and now they're just down by 3 going into the fourth. It's a very close game anyhow. Here's Chris Paul. Paul giving it to Devin Booker. Booker driving up, and Booker will pick up the deuce with the layup. Here we go. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson trying to get around. Give it to Batum, over to Luke Kennard. Kennard over to Batum. Batum driving up. Batum goes up, and it's no good for Batum. Rebounded by the Suns. Devin Booker over to Mikal Bridges, over to Devin Booker. Booker driving up with the mid-range jumper, and it is no good. Rebounded by Dario Saric for the moment, but it will go the other way. Here's Dario Saric giving it to Devin Booker. Booker backing up. Booker trying to buy some time. Booker going for three. That's off. Rebounded by the Clippers. It's man giving it to Paul George. George. And it was kicked. It looks like Chris Paul. As it'll stay with the Clippers with 14 on the shot clock. Reggie Jackson giving it to Paul George. George looking. Mid-range jumper is good for Paul George. Very low scoring game. 71-68 is the score. There's Chris Paul driving up. Chris Paul to Bridges, over to Cam Johnson for three. And Johnson cannot knock it down. With the Clippers with the chance for the tie. And anyhow, that will be Clippers ball. Unless they fouled Devin Booker. I don't even know what's going on. Devin Booker's complaining that Paul George did commit the foul first. But Devin Booker actually pushed Paul George out of the way. So that would honestly be a foul on Devin Booker, and I would tee him up. And he did get teed. Paul George will make the first one. Devin Booker's in foul trouble with 4 fouls in the game. Paul George will make the first free throw. And Cameron Payne comes into the game for Devin Booker. Yeah, Booker just pushed Paul George out of the way. Clippers are looking for a comeback. Paul George cannot make the second one. Rebounded by the Suns. 10 minutes to go. Here's Chris Paul. Paul trying to drive. Paul giving it to DeAndre Ayton, and that will go the other way. I don't know what the Suns are doing, but it's not looking good. And Paul George throws it all the way down to Zubac, and Zubac will get fouled. It's a really good pass by Paul George, but Zubac just couldn't get back. But they do get fouled. Batum for three, no good. There's Chris Paul. Paul driving up. Paul for two, no good. Rebounded by the Clippers. And here's Terrence Mann. Mann's trying to look for anyone that he can. Spinning around with this Paul George. George trying to drive. Paul George for three, no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Chris Paul's going to miss, and so will DeAndre Ayton. Again, the Hawks coming up, and they're going to miss as well. Not a lot of scoring in this fourth quarter. Chris Paul. And an offensive foul call on the Suns. Offensive foul on the Suns. That goes to Mikal Bridges. Around 8.5 minutes left. And Paul George trying to fade away and shoot it, and it's no good. Here's Zubac going to Kennard. Over to Paul George. George trying to look for some time. And Cameron Payne, it turns out he touched it. So the Clippers will keep it with 4 seconds on the shot clock. And 3.9 on the shot clock. Not a lot of time to shoot. Zubac for two, and it's no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Cameron Payne going up, and it rims out. Nothing going well so far for either team. Both teams are 1 for 8 this quarter from the field. Paul George over to Zubac. Zubac flipping out to Batum. Batum over to Reggie Jackson. Jackson for three. And looks like they're going to call the shot clock violation as it'll go the other way. Here we go. Here's the inbound. There's Chris Paul. Dribbling past Terrence Mann. Chris Paul. Looking for time. Chris Paul. Going back the other way. Chris Paul. Giving it to Cameron Payne. Payne. No good. Mikal Bridges will score. But I think they called the foul on the floor. So before Mikal Bridges shot that. But no, it's actually going to be an offensive foul. 7 minutes left. Not a whole lot of scoring. Paul George for two. That's no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Under 7 minutes left. 1 for 10 for the Suns, and 1 for 10 for the Clippers and 1 for 8 for the Suns. There's Chris Paul. Paul going to his right. Going to fade. No good. Someone trying to score. Curry gets the rebound. There's Paul. Putting it out to Crowder for 3. That is no good. No one can score here in the fourth quarter. Here's the thing. This is a close game, but no one can make a shot. As I'm tired, but I'm going to live through it, man. I'm going to live through it even though I'm tired. Guys, it's going to come down to the wire, and it's going to be a very low-scoring game. It's going to be very low-scoring. It's a really close one. If this goes to overtime, I'm just going to end the stream by the fourth quarter. But I don't think this game will go into overtime. I think the Suns or the Clippers will finish it. Ladies and gentlemen, this game is just taking forever to end. And it'll never stop. What a low-scoring game. I'll be back, guys. Sorry, guys, my mic was off. But DeAndre Ayton, 19 points, 20 rebounds, and 5 blocks. That guy should have been the Defensive Player of the Year over Rudy Gobert. Can't hear anything? Can you hear me now, Borm? My mic was off for the moment, but I turned it back on. Let me know if you can hear me now. Jeez, what? What, Barn? What'd I do? Was my mic off? You can hear me? Alright. That's all I needed. Nice to see you in the stream, Barn. I needed someone in here with me. I was alone for most of the stream, but it's a good thing you're in here. 5 blocks. Oh, yeah. DeAndre Ayton should have been Defensive Player of the Year. But Rudy Gobert got it. And the free throw is good. So 1-point game, 73-72. It's literally going to come down to the wire. Here's Chris Paul over to Devin Booker. Booker needs a shot. Booker's going to drive. Booker with the mid-range shot, and it's no good. LA with the chance for the lead. There's Paul George. George spinning around. George for 2, no good. Rebounded by the Suns. Round 5:15 to go. Giving it to Devin Booker. Booker for 2. That's good for Devin Booker. Clutch shot right there. LA needs a 3 to tie. Jackson for 2, and that's good for Reggie Jackson. Monty Williams calling a timeout for the Suns. As the Clippers try to come back with the help by Reggie Jackson. I still haven't been able to watch basketball. Too sad. Dang, bro. I didn't know you weren't able to watch basketball. What was the reason for it? Was your, like, cable not working, or was the TV not working, or, like, why weren't you able to watch basketball? Let me know, Barn. Let me know why you weren't able to watch basketball. Was your, like, cable all messed up? Like, what happened? Let me know, my guy. Just because of the Sixers. Bro, oh my gosh, bro, I don't even want to talk about it. The Sixers literally just choked, bro. I don't even want to care. Was your TV, like, working or anything, or you, like, watching the Suns game right now? Let me know, Barn. I get that you were bummed about the Sixers. I can understand, my guy. Sixers tend to choke in the second round for literally no reason. No matter who they have, whether if it's Elton Brand, Brett Brown, Doc Rivers, whoever, no matter who they have, they'll always go no further than the second round since AI's time. Yep, I'm watching the Suns game. That's cool. That's cool. We just have 3 people in here. Got smash the like button if you just came in, and hit the subscribe button if you're new. Let's go. Now just 2 people. 1 person left. We're coming down to the wire. Around 5 minutes left. We're coming down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming in for a landing, as Mark Zumoff would say. As Mark Zumoff would say, we're coming in for a landing. This is a tight one. Anyone can take this home. Anyone can take it. Leading scores for tonight. Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton for the Suns, and then Paul George and I think Reggie Jackson for the Clippers. And turnover here, under 5 minutes to go. Very low scoring game, 75-74 is your score. Chris Paul giving it to Devin Booker. We gave it right back to Chris Paul from Jay Crowder. Here's Mikal Bridges. Bridges going to Devin Booker. Booker for three. No good. That's way off from Devin Booker. 4.5 minutes left. Is Reggie Jackson trying to find the good footwork, trying to find a spot. Reggie Jackson's going to miss, and Zubac cannot handle it. And Zubac is going to get fouled. Going to the line for two is what it's looking like, unless he did not take the shot, which he didn't take the shot. So maybe an inbound or 2 free throws for Zubac. It will be an inbound. And we're back to 3 people in the street. All right. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson against Devin Booker. Jackson trying to find some time to take the lead. It's Paul George. Someone's got to launch it. Shot clock violation for the Clippers, as it will go the other way with 4:07 left. Really close game. Yeah, and it's a very low scoring game too, Barb. It's a very low scoring game. I mean, it's in the 70s by the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left. Can any team get past 90? Field goals this quarter. Phoenix is shooting 3 for 15, and LA is shooting 2 for 13 in this quarter from the field. And Chris Paul goes up and puts it in. Triple possession by LA. Yeah, I know. I know, right, Barn? It's crazy. Here we go. There's Terrence Mann giving it to Reggie Jackson. Jackson going to the left. Jackson for 3. And they cannot hit. And it's out of bounds, and it's going to be Phoenix ball. This may be the start of where Phoenix takes over. Clutch bucket by CP3. Yeah, you already know, Barn. You already know. Here we go. Around 3 minutes left. Here's Chris Paul. Paul looking to buy some time. Paul for mid-range jumper, no good. Rebounded by Paul George, who goes for 3, cannot hit. Rebounded by the Clippers. Here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson trying to buy some time. Gave it to Pat Beverly, back to Reggie Jackson. Jackson, someone's got to hit it. Someone's got to launch, and Reggie Jackson did launch it, but it did not go through. There's Chris Paul. Paul going back to Devin Booker. 3-point lead right now. Here's Devin Booker. Booker's driving up. And foul is called on Ivica Zubac. And Devin Booker did take a shot at it, so it will be 2 at the line for Devin Booker. Another terrible possession by LA. Yeah, the Suns are just handling the ball better than them, and they're shooting it better. So that's why the Suns are winning, but the score is only in the 70s for both teams. And it will remain that way no matter what happens with Devin Booker's second shot. Booker's 8 for 10 from the free throw line tonight. LA's not handling that ball well. They won't handle it well probably until they have Kawhi back, which they're hoping to get him back soon. Around 2 minutes left. I don't think any team's getting past 90. There's Paul George. George going to the right. George charging in, giving it out to Pat Beverly for 3. And Beverly does not hit. Under 2 minutes left. 79-74 is your score. Three-point field goals this quarter. Phoenix is 0 for 9. LA is 1 for 9. So very terrible three-point shooting this quarter. Or this half, rather, is what it said. Booker's got to launch, and that'll be a shot clock violation, as it will go the other way. But LA still down by 2 scores with a minute and a half left. LA still down by 2 scores. Booker could not get it out. I thought I heard something about jump ball. Booker just felt that way wrong. And of course, we go back to a commercial. Terrible possession, you already know. The ball handling is not well for pretty much either team. That's why it's still only in the 70s from both teams right now. It's unbelievable. It's a good play. Good play by the Suns. Minute and a half left. Really close game right now. Anyone's game. Chris Paul, just 13 points tonight, 6 for 20 from the field. But again, just his second game coming off injury, so it will make sense that Chris Paul's doing bad tonight. Phoenix 4 for 17 this quarter, and LA is 2 for 17 this quarter from the field. As the Clippers drive up and give to Terrence Mann, but he lost the ball. Here we go. Here's Devin Booker. Booker's just hanging around. Going to be a great ending, you already know. And Booker comes in and gets fouled. Booker to the line for 2. And the whole Clippers team is already driving the Suns nuts right now. I don't know what's going on, but the Clippers just gotta stop complaining and making random excuses. Come on, bro. They got 4 guys around Devin Booker. Like, what's your problem? You can't take a good hit? You can't take a good play by Devin Booker, who's a little grown man? Devin Booker's a grown man for real. Like, oh my god. And another timeout is taken. Oh my gosh. Can this game just end already? Like, I want to go to bed. I want this game to get finished. Read the stats of all the players. And end the stream, man. I just want to get this game done. It's unbelievable. It's like any day now. It will be a pretty good ending, to be honest. Depending how well Paul George can do in shooting while having to carry his team. But Reggie Jackson has also been pretty on point as well. So those two players are probably going to have to knock down big shots. Those two are going to need to knock down. I think they're trying to review this as a blocking foul. They're trying to review this as a blocking foul on Pat Beverly. It looks close. Hey, Lucas, what's up, my guy? My man. Everyone arriving late to the stream. An offensive foul is called on Devin Booker. What's up, Lucas? Don't know if I said that already, but if I didn't, what's up? Wow, big call. Yeah, I know, right? Dang. That was a big call on Devin Booker. I really thought it was going to be a blocking foul on Pat Beverly. So I was at a graduation party all night. No, you're good, my guy. You're good. You're good. Thanks for being here. Also, Barm and Lucas, I moderated you guys up because you guys have been on the streams for quite some time, and I appreciate you guys being supporters. So what the wrenches do, if you guys are like kind of new to the wrenches, is that you can moderate people if they're like saying like bad words and using profanity, or if they're like talking some trash. If they're doing that, you can hide them on the channel or put them in a timeout. So that's what it does if you guys never have used the wrenches before. And Devin Booker, with that foul, just got fouled out of the game. So no Devin Booker for the rest of the game with 53 seconds to go. One possession game. And Suns ball. And also, Barn and Lucas, you can also be moderators, and you can also time people out if they're like spamming as well. No spamming, no disrespect. Thanks, man. Especially as your channel grows, we'll hold down the chat. Yeah, moderators like you guys are huge to the channel, man. Now that I know how to do the wrenches now. And here's Chris Paul. Paul just charging up, going with the mid-range jumper. No good. And they get the rebound. It's going to come down to one possession. It's going to be really close. Here's Chris Paul charging in, going back for two. No good. They're going to say jump ball. Well, no more D-Book. That's big. Yeah, I know, bro. I understand. That is huge. And Chris Paul hasn't shot the ball well all night, but neither have the Clippers. So this can go either way. This game can go either way, unless if Paul George or Reggie Jackson could knock down a shot. If that can happen, that can tie the game. but the Suns could win one at the buzzer. I think that ball went out on Paul George. So it's between Paul George and DeAndre Ayton. Oh, it's close between Paul George and DeAndre Ayton. It's pretty close. Who's it leave last? I think it last leaves Paul George's hand. So it's going to be Suns ball. That's going to be Suns ball. Can you live stream the draft? Because I'm going to be on vacation and won't be able to watch it. You mean the NBA draft, Lucas? If that's what you're talking about, I guess I could. But I may be on vacation as well, so I don't know. If you're talking about the NBA draft, then I may be able to. I'm not sure, though. I'll think about it. NBA draft, because I don't know anyone streaming it. Well, I think there are going to be other Philly content creators and other people holding it down and live streaming the NBA draft, but if I'm not on vacation or anything like that, then I could probably live stream it. That means I'll have to get my NBA draft board ready. I'll have to study the players that are in the NBA draft class. So 17.7 left. And Clippers ball. So it's really close right now. And Lucas, I know that RB may be streaming the draft. Philly Mike may be streaming the draft. See, those guys may be streaming the draft, but if I can somehow find a way to stream the draft for the NBA, then I can probably figure it out. Paul George needing these free throws to at least make it a 1-point game. With 13.2 left, and they got to foul the Suns. Paul George will make the first one at the line. Alright, bet, no cap, bro. Facts. Paul George made the first one. Looking to make the second one and foul the Suns. And Paul George will make the second one. Now the Suns need to be fouled by the Clippers, and I think the Clippers can do that. Now the Suns take their final timeout. Suns are taking their final timeout, ladies and gentlemen. This is literally coming down to the wire. Score. It's pretty low scoring, Lucas. It's 70. It's 79 to 77. It's very low scoring, Lucas. That's all I'm going to tell you. 79 to 77 is the score right now. So it's anyone's game. But the only way the Clippers can take this one is if they foul the Suns, and if the Suns make just one of two free throws, and if the Clippers somehow hit a clutch three to tie the game. Actually, no, it's 79-78. My bad. So the Clippers just tried to retain possession, but it'll stay with Phoenix. I don't know what they're not doing in fouling them. I don't know why they're not fouling them. I don't know why they're trying to strip it out of bounds. And they do foul Chris Paul. So Chris Paul will go to the line for two. And we got Paul George crying like a baby. Paul George, shut your mouth. Paul George, stop being a baby, will you? My gosh. Guys, Paul George is complaining about at the ref, and he's being a baby. And Chris Paul will make the first one. So if he hits the second one, the Suns, or the Clippers rather, will have to get all the way down the court and probably have either Paul George or Reggie Jackson knock it down. As Reggie Jackson actually goes off. Come on, CP3, knock those down. Yeah, I want the Suns to win, bro. Try not to be too biased, but I kind of want the Suns to win, to be honest. Chris Paul will make the second one. 7 seconds remaining. Off topic, but what do you do, Ben, for Fred VanVleet? If it's Ben for Fred VanVleet straight up, like, was Fred VanVleet a center? Isn't Fred VanVleet a center? I think he is. Fred VanVleet. I think he's a center. What I do, Ben for Fred VanVleet. He's a guard. If we put him at point guard, but I think he's a shooting guard. I mean, we could put him at point guard for Ben, but I don't think it'll happen. I don't think we do Ben for Fred VanVleet. I want Damian Lillard though. I want Dame so bad. It'd be Ben, Maxey, Thibault, and multiple first-round picks to get Dame Lillard. So apparently, the Suns foul the Clippers now, and this is what's going to put the pressure on Paul George. Paul George misses the first one, and this is going to be over. Because no matter what happens, the Suns are probably going to make one free throw if they try to foul him. He averages 20, but I don't think he has played. Like, Fred VanVleet's a guard, but I'm not sure how much he is good at point guard. That's the problem. It's really tough, to be honest, Lucas. I'm not giving up Tyrese enmities. I don't want to either, but it's the best way we can get Dame because we need a big-time scorer. Fred VanVleet's all right, but can we play him at point guard is the question. I think Fred VanVleet has only played shooting guard. Unless if we go ahead and move someone up to point guard in the shooting guard spot. So, like, I don't know, if we move Tyrese up there, and then let Fred VanVleet play point guard, if we give up Ben Simmons, it could work. It could work if we don't trade for Dame, but if we do, move Tyrese Maxey to point guard, and Fred VanVleet goes to shooting guard. Tyrese a future Kyrie, facts. I would rather trade Ben, Seth, and 4 first-rounders for Dame. I don't want to trade Seth, bro. Seth is literally a god at three-point shooting. We need shooting in all 4 quarters. We need someone who can knock down their shots every single time, and I am not giving up Seth for that. I am not giving up Seth Curry. I am not giving up Seth Curry for Dame. I literally saw it on a website, on fanside.com, and a trade proposal would be Ben, Matisse, Maxey, and multiple first-round picks for Dame Lillard. It'd be tough. And that one, the first one is made for the Suns. I mean, we would probably not get Steph, but I want Steph Curry. I would want Steph Curry too, bro. If we would have Steph and Seth together, would be the best three-point shooting in the league. We'd have the best three-point shooting in the league. Chris Paul to seal it. Does not seal it. They had a chance. But they foul him right off the bat. And guess what? They're just going to do it right back. They're just going to do it right back. I would want Steph too, bro, but it's going to take a lot to get Steph. The team gets a lot worse giving up Tease and Tyrese. Yeah, I understand. I understand that, but it's one of our probably only options. I mean, we need a big three-point shooter, though, because our three-point shooting, it was like top 10, but we need to be top 5 to be a contender. Ben, Toby, Matisse, and 2 firsts for Curry and Wiggins. I wouldn't give up Tobias. Tobias had a nice season. I'm not giving up Tobias if I'm Daryl Morey. Big miss by Chris Paul, you already know, my guy. And a big miss right here. Yeah, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up Tobias. I'm not giving up Tobias Harris with Ben and Matisse, with 2 first-round picks for Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins. I'm not giving up Tobias. The question is, how well will Matisse Thybulle play defense if we want to include him in a trade? And how much offense can he bring to the table? If I had to trade one of those 2 players, it'd probably be Matisse. So I don't know, like Ben, Matisse. It'd have to be like 3 players and multiple first-round picks. But I'm not giving up Tyrese. I'm not giving up Maxey in a Ben Simmons trade. Chris Paul makes this, then this will seal it. You're ever going to do a call-in? I don't know. I don't know, my guy. And Chris Paul just sealed the deal as the Suns will take game number 4 in a low-scoring one by a final score of 84-80. Really close game and a very low-scoring game. I'm not sure if I will do a call-in, Lucas. I mean, I may. Suns in 5. Possibly if they don't get Kawhi back by then. Phoenix leads the series 3-1. Game. Yeah, game, set, match, bro. Game, set, match. Phoenix leads the series 3-1. It's unbelievable. Well, guys, it's almost midnight, so before we get out of here, I'm going to read the stats for tonight, from tonight's game. Pierre's going off like crazy right now. And not a whole lot of scoring from both teams in the fourth quarter. Suns only had 15 points, and the Clippers only had 14. And the Clippers had 16 in the second quarter. As the Suns put the Clippers on the brink of elimination. It's late on the East Coast. You already know, my guy. It's literally nearly midnight. I'm going to read the stats for you from both teams and from just the team overall, and then we're going to get out of here. I'm probably going to head to bed. So for the Suns, for the final score, DeAndre Ayton had 19, Mikal Bridges 6, Booker 25, Chris Paul 18, Jay Crowder 3, Cameron Payne 5, Cameron Johnson 5, Darius Saric 3. And that was it going forward. No one else really brought an impact. And if you guys did not see, Abdel Nader actually came back today and came off of injury. So, good for him to come back. As for the Clippers, Zubats had 13, Paul George had 23, Reggie Jackson had 20, 2 for Pat Beverly, 4 for Marquis Morris, 12 for Terrence Mann, 3 for Nick Batum, 2 for Luke Kennard, and 1 point for DeMarcus Cousins. I didn't even see DeMarcus Cousins on the floor. And he didn't even come in for a minute. Like, I was so ready to get this game done. Because it is crazy. Have a good one, Barn. See you on the next one, my guy. All right, this game is done. Suns get it in the books. In a very low-scoring game, 84-80. But they take a 3-1 series lead. They put the Clippers on the brink of elimination. DeMarcus Cousins sucks. You already know, my guy. You already know. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it for me. Very low-scoring game, but it mainly was in the fourth quarter by both teams. But it was very close and low-scoring, not going to lie. See you, definitely be on the next stream. Yeah, see you, Lucas. Have a good night, bro. Yeah, man. We're going to be heading out. You guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. No matter which stream it is, or if it's a video or anything in particular, but see you guys on the next one, man. Peace.